While some are amassing grand fortunes, most others are finding themselves drowning in debt. The richest people are getting much richer, and those in the lower classes are getting more poor. This is all by design, of course. More poverty equates to more control. Stock markets may continue to reach new highs while simultaneously the real economy is under a heavy burden of layoffs, despite the absolute fraud that is the government-provided unemployment figure. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to look at the huge layoffs already in 2016. So I've been hearing about all these layoffs that have been taking place since over the past few years, let's say, and never really paid attention to the specific numbers or which corporations, but I've been noticing that it's been sort of a trend. So I decided to make a video about it and actually put together a few examples. But then I came up with an extremely large amount of examples. I had to stop because it's just a little bit ridiculous here. The first one, which I didn't include in here, but obviously Walmart being one of them, where we see stores closing and a lot of changes coming. And this is from a store that you would generally assume that it would stay open during these crises because people are looking for more deals. If they're unemployed, they need to purchase things at a cheaper price, so they look for places to save money, Walmart being one of them. But things are really changing right now. So let's cover a few examples. I'm not going to read the articles to you. I just want to cover a few examples, hit a few points just to show you how things are going. See, now I talked about this situation that's happening, this two-face here. Wall Street flirts with record high levels as companies report. That's right. See, despite all of the Baltic Dry Index being down near record lows, and you have all of the signs that the economy is being weighed down right now, you have the stock market at record highs. Why? Because the stock market and the economy don't ever go together anymore. Those do not relate to each other. They have been broken a long time ago. But here we are today, seeing how you can have record highs at the same time you have a civilian labor force participation rate at a 38-year low. You had the Federal Reserve's balance sheet almost near $5 trillion. But of course, that does not matter. You bring up those facts, and it does not matter. It's hilarious. All right, let's get into this right away. Number one, of course, this is not in any particular order. Let's just cover it out of the AP. Intel to cut 12,000 jobs. 12,000 jobs as it confronts decline in PCs. Now, they make a lot of considerations here. It's this reason, it's that reason. But I'm just going to touch on a few of the points. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this could happen, but 12,000 is a very serious number. It's not 100 or 20 or something. We're looking at tens of thousands of people losing their jobs, and here we are, Intel, a huge corporation, happening to be one of those. Tulsa-based oil natural gas producer lays off 42 employees. Now, this is just a very small example, but I wanted to bring this up because of what's happening with the oil and gas industries. When any commodity that is, when they suffer from a drastic price reduction, you will encounter layoffs. But it's not just that. Look at the real estate, for example, in the Alberta region in Canada. The housing prices were affected, and of course that affects jobs as well. So a lot of things happen, not just in that particular commodity, that particular sector, but you have to understand the ripple effect, as I call it, all the time. Let's move on to this. United launch alliance to lay off up to 875 by the end of 2017. Now, normally you see this type of information, you would think, look, the company's not doing bad. But when you lay off people, if you can spin it and convince the market that this is good, you can actually increase the stock value by doing so. You lay off a whole bunch of people because you, quote, increase productivity, therefore stock goes up. This is the kind of thing that I have to listen to every day, and it's a joke. Okay, Macquarie says that they're going to lay off 15% of the U.S. investment banking group, according to sources out of Reuters here. And Macquarie shut down business, as far as I'm aware, in Canada too. So this is a trend that has been going on with the financial services industry. There's a lot of consolidation that happens, and the consolidation happens both in a boom time, but even more so in a downtime, because the discounts really appear to them. So a lot of times what will happen is companies get split up, and one piece of the company gets bought out by this company and gets taken over, and a whole bunch of people just lose their jobs, and there's what they call productivity increases. Basically, you now do 3 people's jobs. BlackRock to restructure after tough first quarter. Even the biggest corporations out there are suffering right now, and these are, if you look at them, you might see 42 employees or 100 employees or 1,000 employees. That's talking about these particular situations. All of these, as far as I'm aware, I'd have to double check, but were 2016. All of these, you can see how many tabs I have open here. We'll go through all of that. 2016. Imagine if it's just 50 people here, 100 people here, 1,000 people there, 12,000 in the case of Intel, and you're looking at what adds up to a large number. What I wrote about in my book is just another example. I mean, I really do like the prospect of alternative energy, and solar being, to me, one of the best. But they are using this to squander money. And look at this. This is what I wrote about in my book. In the case of Evergreen Solar, they were given $43 billion in taxpayer money for their business and became one of the top solar panel manufacturers in the U.S. They since laid off all of their employees, moved to do business in China. The list continues on, but the point is the same. The jobs are moving overseas permanently. So this is the kind of thing that happens consistently. I believe it's Solyndra who just goes bankrupt after. They get multi-billion dollars, and then they are essentially squandering the money in some way, shape, or form. JPMorgan, everyone's favorite, cuts 5% of Asia wealth management jobs. Again, the financial services industry is being replaced. I showed you just recently how they're opening up a bank as a test run with no tellers, and it's going to be individuals, customer service individuals waiting around with iPads, trying to minimize the workforce. And that you see when you go to the grocery store, you have one individual monitoring 4 or 6 or even 8 self-serve caches. You have a lot of things like this happening, and each of the industries are basically trying to consolidate, trying to save money essentially. American Apparel lays off workers, mulls some outsourcing. Outsourcing obviously big in many different fields, whether it's manufacturing or whether it is in the information technology, IT type services. You see this as a growing trend. Nomura trimming operations. This is Japan's biggest brokerage, slashing up to 600 jobs in Europe and the Americas to focus on its core business. They try to spin it, but ultimately they're suffering. That's why they lay off people. When times are good, they hire more people, they expand, they buy more real estate, they put more people into it, they upgrade their facilities in their different establishments. This is the way it works. Prada to evaluate selective shop closures and downsizing. So you're looking at it not only affecting the small or let's say the Walmarts out there who are dealing with people who perhaps aren't wealthy enough to buy Prada, or don't choose to buy Prada, I should say, on a regular basis. The Prada type stores, the higher end, the luxury goods, let's go with that, are seeing a downturn as well. Barnes & Noble hands off some of its tech services for the Nook, and they're managing to struggle in a cost-cutting move that's going to lay off 99 workers. Again, a small thing here, but this is the trend that's happening. It's 99 today, but it is, 100 tomorrow, 1,000 the next day. Fiat Chrysler cuts 1,300 workers in Michigan and scraps the shift. So what happens in the automotive industry has been devastating over the past few decades, and we've seen that decline. It is basically allowing corporations to move overseas and take all their profits with them. And what do? They try to slap on other taxes. It seems to not affect them. It affects you and I, of course, because they have tax loopholes for themselves. Credit Suisse to cut another 2,000 jobs. That's another 2,000 jobs. And this is out of Switzerland. You're looking at this. So every country around the world is suffering. It's not a conspiracy theory, folks. Brazil's Petrobras sees layoffs plan savings up to $9.2 billion. That's right. When you have layoffs, the companies tell their shareholders, we're about to save you, in this case, $9.2 billion. And that's supposed to make their stocks rise. But what about the truth? Who's going to buy all of these products if you're laying off all the people? This is the thing that people don't understand, the shareholders or the corporations themselves or anyone all throughout the line. You're going to put your money into Petrobras thinking that, look, they're saving money, the stock's going to go up. But what does it say about the fact that the stock had, they had to lay off all these people in order to get the stock to come up? They couldn't just produce profit. They had to what they call increase profitability. Anyway, or productivity, I should say. All right, so that's it for this video. This is just such a small amount of the amount of layoffs that we have seen recently. I'm sure you've seen it in your own areas, perhaps geographically in your cities. Perhaps you're an individual who's been so unfortunate to be at this, in this situation here. So, if you are, then, pick yourself back up and get out there. There are opportunities for those who, want to get into the workforce. Don't be a part of these statistics. Do what you have to do, and let's get back up on our feet. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate all of the thumbs up that you guys give me, the comments that you guys give me. I'm trying to get back to as much as possible. Oh, before I forget, the 9/11 videos that I just did, the previous ones, well, Google loves to do this to me, but anytime I mention 9/11 or ISIS or war or attack or anything in the titles, descriptions, whatever, they always cut the AdSense off of that particular video. Now, I don't really care about the money wise. Really, I don't, because the few pennies that you make, it ultimately doesn't add up to much. But what worries me is that they say, if you continue to violate the policies, then we're going to ban you. That's really what I don't like. That's what scares me. But I'm not going to title the video something that it isn't. I have to be honest about that. So anyway, that's the dilemma that I'm in. But, that's just the way it is. So I just wanted you guys to know that. That's all. I want full transparency here on this channel. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. You can actually flip through the book. If you go over to Amazon, they have this look inside feature, which will allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.